Wow, I can't believe the Dundum NT review got 500 views. Maybe I'm really getting into this anime review thing. Hey, that was a good idea I had with putting up a schedule for everything that I'm working on. Some transparency with upcoming videos really helps show professionalism and gives me an idea of what to work on first. And just, hey, it would be fun if I immediately deviated from that and worked on something else entirely. No, but this was meant to be a video on Carol and Tuesday, but yeah, it wasn't very good. Probably gonna have to redo that one at some point. But in the meantime, here's something I've already gathered my thoughts on and can talk about while also managing to disappoint the target audiences of all my most popular videos. Whenever someone tells me, Hunter, I'm disappointed in Tokyo Ghoul, what can I read instead? I go to them and alright, look at this, I got this. See this? It's called Parasite, it's just better. In this comparison, I've always seen Tokyo Ghoul and Parasite as two of a kind that are also somehow the only things like them. Parasite, at least until its kind of average, slightly forgettable ending, is pretty much a masterpiece, both the anime and the manga. What I didn't know is that there's actually a third series that shares the same rough setup. 7 Billion Needles, or Hikikomori Headphone Girl, a loose adaptation of the 1950s sci-fi novel Needle by Hal Clement. The story follows Hikaru Kakuba, a young girl who after the death of her family moves in with her uncle and his wife, and while on a school trip gets straight up crushed to death by a meteor slamming into her. But right afterwards, she wakes up back in class the next day. She finds out that what actually happened is that an alien called Horizon that can't exist on the Earth's oxygen crashed into her, going into Takuba's blood and using its abilities to save her life after she was pretty much completely destroyed. It's a pretty similar setup to Shinichi and Midi from Parasite, close enough that if this weren't an adaptation of something that predates Parasite, I'd say they copied it. But the source novel predates Parasite, so I will let this one slide. From here on, Hikaru and Horizon have to fight other creatures like him, with the end goal being to defeat Maelstrom, another creature like Horizon, whose only goal is to kill and eat every other living thing on the planet. Besides the premise, the actual style of the manga is pretty comfortable, at least for the first half. Well, even when things get complicated, the art style is always pretty clean and clear without ever looking too plain or minimalistic. Nothing really stands out, but nothing's really confusing, at least in the first half. The character designs and art style are all very realistic while still having a kind of charm to them. It's full of small details that only really work in the manga medium. Like how Hikaru takes off her headphones and you suddenly have 3 times as many speech bubbles on the page, and it all just becomes so overwhelming. You really get an idea of why she keeps the headphones on, and how she feels when she's getting overwhelmed. Now that said, the art style also is not the best by any means. There's a very bad case of same face going on here on the characters, and a lot of the time fights end up feeling anticlimactic or like you missed something. In fact, I'd argue that all of them have issues like this. And while I like the design, some of the poses do come off as kind of unnatural, and it's only in the designs of the aliens that the artist's talent really comes out. It's very Akira-esque and has a grotesque feeling that I'm always a fan of. Plot is a little predictable, but seeing the delivery is generally pretty interesting, at least for the first half. Again, I know I'm saying that a lot. One of its big problems is that characters just don't ask enough questions. They'll see something and keep quiet about it to make sure their friend doesn't get in trouble, which makes sense, but then they also don't feel the slightest bit inclined to do so hey, what's going on with the deal? What's the deal with the biomass? What's the deal with the Resident Evil biomass? But like, while every character is consistent, they don't have a believable mindset. Nobody acts out of character, but the character they act in is completely ridiculous sometimes. Like, just ask, don't you want to know what the deal with that is? It'll go into these psychological segments inside a character's mind where it seems like it wants to take the Evangelion route, but its characters, while fun and interesting, aren't deep enough for the type of analysis it's trying to do. The most explanation the others get is an implication, and then after that, it's implied that Hikaru just explained things off-screen, like they knew this was going to be a short series, so might as well just cut out the explanations. But they really could have had something to indicate that this happened other than a minor throwaway comment. About halfway through the series, though, it manages to do something incredible. In just a single plot point, the manga turns from easy to follow but predictable to unpredictable and also barely comprehensible. I seriously don't have a clue what is happening in the second half. It gets so hard to follow, it's just bizarre. Like, what is even happening in this manga? And it doesn't help that the faces look so stupidly similar that there are times that I read a scene and it's not until a full 3 or 4 chapters later that I go, wait, that wasn't Hikaru in that scene? Eventually, it just goes completely insane and turns into a Bleach fight in the last few chapters, and peaks with a talking deuce before simmering down for the ending. which again is pretty reminiscent of Parasite, this time without its source material as a defense. It's wild and hard to follow, but also interesting and pretty unique if you've seen Parasite and want something else to keep that taste in your mouth, but still nowhere near as good as either of its peers. So would I recommend it? Maybe. Only if you've seen everything that's better and you know what you're getting into. Yeah, you might want to read it just to go, yeah, that wasn't as good as Parasite, but it was fun. So maybe read it. Thank you for watching.